Hi Tom, it's an honor to have you here on the channel. First of all, thank you for accepting our invite.
And I was very excited to start this podcast. I was very excited to have you on. It will be definitely very interesting to know your story. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on the channel, and yeah, I'm looking forward to have a chat about my journey and football and life.
Tom, let's start from the beginning. Growing up, what did football actually meant to you? Was it like always a career goal, or it was more of an escape for you?
I think when I started, it was just about enjoying it. I grew up in very close to Manchester United's ground, Old Trafford, about 20 minutes. I can see you've got a Man United top there in the background, so that helps. But no, just enjoying playing on the street with my mates, and then kind of found myself in the local teams. And from there, I had a football journey, which obviously I'm very proud of. But yeah, it just started from enjoying it and just kicking the ball against the wall, and one thing led to another. But no, I think initially it was just that it was a getaway from probably normal life, and it was just something that I loved to do.
May I ask you a question, Tom? In India, if I see kids, they trip to be a footballer. Yeah, it's really very hard for them to get to the top professional stuff. For you in UK, was it hard, or was it, like the route to the professional football is easy over there, or like how is it?
No, that's a really good question. And I've been asked that question in different countries like Australia. So for me, my assessment of that is like, first of all, going for a football pathway is not easy anywhere in the world. Like, you've obviously got a lot of players that want to make it, want to get to that level as high as they can go. So first of all, it's not easy. But my second thing would be is obviously the grassroots level in England is a lot more favourable to the player, because ultimately you've got a lot more teams, a lot more pathways, a lot more opportunities, and this is where countries obviously are different. Like even in Australia, in my opinion, I found the same issues, is that there was only 12 professional teams, and it's such a big country. How does a player go from playing for his school into like a local team into then that professional team? There's a big gap between the two, and there needs to be a bridge to be provided for that child to go from, okay, he's playing well in his local team, but where's the next step for him, Because ultimately, if I look back at my career, there's always been a step to take me to the next step, This is how football works, how life works, So yeah, I think there's, in different countries, it's different. To answer your question, it's definitely not easy. I wouldn't say it's easier, it's just different, And that's where I feel that countries, there's got to be a bridge provided, because I'm sure there's a lot of talent, and not just talking about India, but Australia and other countries where there's not a lot of professional teams, So yeah, it's a tough question to ask, but it's a good point you make.
Getting back to your career, Tom, you came from Carlisle United, then you went on multiple loans, right? To Stockport, to Inverness, and there were multiple clubs where you were on loan. What was like for you the biggest welcome to the real world type of moment, which made you realize that how this professional football is really tough?
Yeah, so going back in that story, I was at part of Blackburn Rovers Academy for 4 years. I faced a bit of adversity in my final year, got a knee injury, which is how I ended up following a coach up to Carlisle. And then I had success. I got into the first team and got a transfer to Watford, which was a good move. They paid a fee for me. So kind of my career was going on an upward trajectory. However, faced more adversity with not playing, moving south. I didn't travel well. I was a northern boy. That's what they call them in England when from up north. And yeah, just at such a young age, it was probably the right move, but at the wrong time. And I faced, rejections, not playing. And as a centre-half, as a defender, consistency is key, and playing week in, week out, especially at that age, to kind of earn your stripes was massive. And I never really did that for the next 2-3 years of my first professional career. It was a lot of moves and in and out of teams, lack of consistency, and I found myself kind of probably facing the most adversity I felt in my career at the front end of my career. So it's probably made me stronger towards the back end of my career, and I never really started consistently playing in a first team till I was like 21, 22. And that's kind of then when I really started to nail down playing regularly and then build my career from there.
So as a young kid, Tom, really, it would be really hard for someone to not get minutes on, professional minutes regularly. So what was your internal dialogue? Like, how did you come out from it?
Well, for me, it was always, first of all, I had the belief in me that I knew I was good enough to play at a level. I never wavered from what I felt I could do or achieve in football. So for me, it was always that mindset of if I can play and play regularly, I'll prove myself and earn my way back up. So effectively, I dropped down a few leagues. So I've gone from a championship club paying a transfer fee to then going back to League Two, So I had that mindset of going, right, okay, I have to drop down a few rungs on the ladder to effectively come back up. And that's what I did. And it was almost like a bit of a grit and a determination to think I can do this, And everyone's football journey is different. And mine was, if I'm honest, is very difficult at the start, But if I look back now at 35, it provided me the best platform to then go, like I'd probably faced the worst stages of my career early. So everything else now is relative, So, but yeah, no, I found myself playing regularly in Accrington's team. I went and played nearly 100 games out of 100 in terms of every minute for like a 2-year period. And then I went back to a championship team in Blackpool. So yeah, it was an interesting journey, but like I say, it stood me in good stead.
The role which you played with Blackpool. Blackpool was like, I believe, your biggest moment, because when you went to Blackpool, you started really good. You had really good minutes, and then actually you guys were fighting for the promotion, and you actually captained that side, if I'm not wrong, for the promotion. So how was it like from facing different loan deals and then going to a club where you played every single game out and you captained the side into promotion? Like, that would have been really big for you.
Yeah, look, I felt like once I moved to Blackpool, I was now starting to establish myself as a first team player at the ages of 24, 25. And yeah, it was. And then what happens is I found myself in kind of a leadership position, which is different. It's you go from being a first team player to actually one of the leadership group and having that responsibility week in, week out to lead the team. So, and in the end, we got promoted at Wembley, and I was fortunate enough to captain them that day. So it's something I'll always take away, is that I was a captain at Wembley.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, look, it was, when I go back, it's almost like I'm talking a lifetime ago since what's happened. But yeah, I think that was like 10 years ago. But no, look, I felt like when I was at Blackpool, I was really starting to I'd proved to myself that I was an established first team player, and I got to the stage where I was just like, I want to achieve more and more. And that was obviously to win promotion via Wembley it's one of the best ways to do it. Any player in the Football League in England will tell you that. So no, it was a great achievement. And yeah, look, it was, it's something that I've learned from, and yeah, it was good.
That season might be very different, in the dressing room as well. Like, how was the pressure in the dressing room, going games in and out, knowing that you are fighting for the promotion and being the captain? What was your responsibility during that run-in period where you guys were facing promotions? I would like to know more about the background stuff and your role in order to motivate them. How was it?
Yeah, so the role was something that I kind of grew into that season because I had a good season. We had a lot of good players in our group that year, players that actually kicked on to have really good careers. So we knew we had a good, strong squad. Having the squad and executing is two different things, It's like here at Mohun Bagan, we have a strong squad, but achieving it is different. Football's not played on paper, So you have to perform. But yeah, no, going back to that year, as a leader, it was just about galvanizing the group. And to be honest with you, in England, it's a long season. I think that year was like a 55, 56 game season for myself. So
yeah,
it's very fatiguing. Just to stay calm. But there's a lot of things at stake. It's not just the promotion, which is on paper. It's what effects that has on next season contracts. If you go up, you're playing in a bigger league, which obviously means a bigger contract. It affects people's livelihoods. And this is the thing about the Football League in England and where I played my early years of my career, is that, if I'm honest, it was life and death. Like when I played in England and Scotland, it was like if you get relegated, like people's livelihoods are on the line. If you get promoted, people's livelihoods are on the line. The other way is that they can double and triple salaries, which is huge for families. Players have responsibilities. They have families. They have wives. They have children. And they're living well away from home. And this is what probably players don't speak enough about, is that the impacts it has off the pitch. So there is pressure on the field, but off it as well is huge. It's affecting the trajectory of your family. So that's why there's obviously that pressure, and it's been something in time that I've been able to manage. And I also feel that now moving forward that I can help other players with that, because the journey I've been on, because it's huge, Football is the best game in the world, but when you're in it, sometimes it can be really, really tough.
Okay, so can you go back into that day when you lifted that promotion trophy in the stadium? How was it? How it really felt to you watching all the fans of the stands over there? They might be cheering for you. Like it would have been buzzing, right, to get the picture. That too, a game of in Wembley.
Yeah, it was an amazing moment, and obviously when you play at a stadium like Wembley, it's incredible. But looking back, to be honest with you, it's almost relief, because of, like I'm speaking about before, it's that, right, I'm now negotiating a contract in a better league. I'm now it's affected my career in a way that a lot more beneficial than it would have if we would have lost that game, So, yeah, there was a bit of relief. And to be honest with you, because we had such a strong squad that year, we knew we kind of had to go up, and we did it in the right way. So in the end, we got over the line. But that was an incredible day, and yeah, it was a stage of my career I'm proud of.
Yeah, really. It was really interesting to know that side of football as well, Tom.
Yeah.
Because we fans will look upon the club side that our club is getting promoted. We did not know much about the contract situations. Yeah, so really great to know about that side of football as well. Moving on, Tom. So you moved to Australia for Brisbane Roar, which was a massive life decision, I believe. So was that move also about just football, or you were looking for a personal reset as a human being, like, or a new contract or a better contract? So like, how did it happen? And you later also took the Australian citizenship as well. So the story behind that as well, Tom.
So after Blackpool, I went up to Scotland and played almost 2 years there. And
yeah,
after that point, I was 27, 28, and I'd got to a stage in my career where I'd played in England, I'd played in Scotland, felt like I'd achieved within reason what felt was a good achievement. I'd played in the different countries. So I always said to myself throughout my career that I would love to play abroad. And if that opportunity came, I would definitely take it if it was the right one. And to be honest with you, coming to the end of my contract when I was in Scotland, I actually had interest in India then. So this is going back 7 years. And the two clubs were Kerala and Mumbai City.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is like 7 years ago. Oh, and obviously at the time, and it was the first exposure to India. Yeah. I was sharing a changing room with Carl McHugh, and obviously Carl signed for, at the time, ATK Calcutta.
Yeah.
And I was having the conversation with him about India, and he was telling me he was going to ATK Calcutta, and I was telling him Kerala and Mumbai, and we had the chat. And then shortly after that, I got a call from Robbie Fowler. So for me, it was when I spoke to Robbie, and what he's told me, that felt for me was the right next step of my journey. So yeah, like I say, I wanted to play abroad. That step kind of revealed itself when a legend like Robbie Fowler gets in touch with you and tells you he wants you to play for his team. It felt right. So in the end, obviously, as you know, the story goes, I didn't come to India. Carl did, and signed for Brisbane Roar. So I spent 5 years there. I was the club captain for 5 years. Robbie made me captain the first year, and it was incredible. Incredible experience, incredible league. In my opinion, Australia, the A-League doesn't get the credit for the level it is. I'd come from playing in Scotland's Premier League against big clubs, Rangers, Celtic. And for me, the level in Australia was just as good, if not better, against some of the SPL teams, like your average, your middle tier teams. So it was a fantastic 5 years. And as you say, I got the Australian citizenship, which was obviously a proud honour, because I'd done I love the country. Like I fell in love with the country. I'd been there, lived there. My family moved there. We had our son there. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to achieve that alongside the football as well.
Congratulations on that, Tom. I also want to know, Tom, like, what was the biggest football difference, like, you felt noticed in Australia, which was like different from Scotland or England?
Yeah, so the first thing was the heat. I remember we played Perth on my first ever game, and I was like, I actually don't think I can play here, because I was like, I was wet through with sweat, and after like half an hour, I was like, this is just too much. And look, in the end, you become accustomed to it and you acclimatise. But the first game, I was like, and Robbie actually signed like 4 other English, British lads, and Irish. So we were all from that background, and after the first game, like, this just could be too much. In the end, we acclimatized, and it worked. But yeah, the heat initially, and to be honest with you, I was made captain from minute 1. So I was captain in a team where lads had played hundreds of games in the A-League. I hadn't played one, so it was a big responsibility from the word go to shoulder that. I can't speak highly enough of the A-League, and I enjoyed my time there.
Tom, it's been 25 years you've been, playing football, and you have always been known for your allied conditioning, like your physique is just phenomenal. I was going through your Instagram, I was seeing the photos, like you remember, like, Cristiano Ronaldo posting photos of his physique, and I was like, damn, Tom really has a good physique. So moving countries from Scotland to England, then to Australia, you might have also evolved your training as well, like from 20s to you are now approaching 35, 36. You are. So, what was that actually one habit which you stopped doing in order to protect your body and achieve that physique?
Yeah, so in answer to the question, so look, yeah, physically, I feel like that's something part of my game that's one of my key assets, and I've always prided myself on being the best version of myself I can possibly be to help my team and win the game on a weekend. That's something that I actually enjoy doing as well. It doesn't come as a chore to me. Some players might go, I have an attitude of can't be bothered. Like, throughout my career, I've seen that. But for me, it's like, I actually enjoy feeling good, feeling athletic, feeling strong, waking up feeling good. So something that I enjoy. But yeah, look, for me, as I've got older, and everyone as an athlete, as people, we get older, key is learning your body, managing it and understanding it. Ultimately, as you do get older, your body's going to become less forgiving. By that, I mean, the stiffness might linger for longer, an injury might last for longer. So it's just getting those little 1% things. And I feel now I'm at a stage where I've not mastered it, because you never master anything, but just all facets. So like sleep, nutrition, hydration, the mental side of the game, the training well, and in the off season having a conditioning the body so it can handle the rigors of the season when it arrives, and just finding what works for me. And I think I'm fortunate in a way, because anyone who's played with me probably thinks genetically I'm been gifted with a body that can do it. Like, the lads go mad here because like my body fat's low, and I've got a few lads here are super fit. So, but yeah, look, I think just all that coincides with just professionalism and trying to find those little 1% to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. So, Tom, like I know that you are launching an app focused on fitness and football drills. So, is this a collection of your survival tools which you tried and tested to stay fit throughout your career? Like how can a young kid in India, use this app to reach the pro level? Like, what's the background of your app?
Yeah, so that's the first. I mean, you're one of the first people I've actually told about the app. So yeah, it's something I've been thinking about for a number of years, really. And what I speak about earlier in terms of all the little 1%ers and dynamics of being not just a professional footballer, but a professional person, an athlete. There's a lot of things that make that up, and I feel that I can create something that would add value to whether it's a young footballer or a young athlete or a young person who just seeks that bit of improvement. If I can put all the knowledge and experience that I've gained in 20, 25 years, and the mistakes and the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads, into one place, I feel I can provide value to that person in a way that gets them a result, whether that be from a fitness aspect, from in the gym, with the football drills. I think I see a lot of people now who pick a ball up and don't actually know how to train effectively with it, or they go into a gym and they don't know how to effectively train what they're trying to achieve, or they go on to do a run and what is it they're actually doing in running, you know? So for me, what I'm trying to do is basically put all that into one place to allow people to train effectively, to train smart and find a result, whatever that result is they're wanting to achieve. It's going to be work in progress, and I'm working now while I'm here in India to do that. But yeah, look, I think anyone can pick up the app and find an effective way to achieve a result for sure. No, I'm a perfectionist, so I'm just at the moment just trying to go for everything. I've shot a lot of content and videos with my family, my wife in the UK, so she's actually going through and editing some of these videos. I'm just in the process now of basically creating programs and work around that so that the user can pick up the app and actually understand how to use it, you know. So I'm hoping before in 2-3 months that we can actually launch. And yeah, look, it's something that's a passion of mine. And as I get to these years of my career, and if someone said to me, what do you want to do after? This is what I would want to do, is basically help that person who we speak about on the front end of the call, who had that adversity and had those problems, to go, this is what I've learned, you know? So yeah, there's a lot of people out there now for me who are creating this type of product, but haven't played the games and have had the setbacks and failures that I've had. And ultimately, that's where I've learned my biggest lessons, is through the failures, you know. And that's how we learn as people, is we don't learn from the success moments. Well, we might do slightly, but for me, it's the downfalls where we pick up those improvements that we can then apply to our lives.
Yeah, I'm literally looking forward to your app, Tom, and I'm excited to use it as well.
Have I sold you there? Have I sold you?
I also learned a few tricks, and I learned to score a volleys like the volleys you have scored for Mohun Bagan.
Yeah. No, that was it. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I definitely try to achieve a physique like you. So okay, Tom. So you talked about your earnings. If you would go back in time and give you 19-year-old self one habit or one recovery habit, let's say, because there's a part which I feel that most of the athletes and the people also in the gym, I also go to gym, and I feel that people do not follow the recovery tricks, because of which they again and again fall into injuries. So what it would be like, what would be your advice to a 19-year-old boy who is just starting out at football or just starting his fitness career?
So if I was to choose just one and one only, it would be sleep and sleep consistency. The key is with sleep is not having one night of 9 hours sleep and the next night 6, and then it's back to a 9 hour. So you're constantly going through this loop of one day you're really energetic, the next day you're tired. It's like, that's almost like a yo-yo. For me, it's, if you can have 7 hours per night every night and go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, that is key. And that's something as well in the app I want to talk about, is sleep routines and having a process of getting to from 8 o'clock at night and watching the television to actually then going to sleep. It's actually a routine that you build to allow yourself to just, your body to know, right, I'm going to sleep. Because I look back when I was like 18, 19, it was just volatile sleeping, and I'll be guilty of maybe Saturday night I've gone out late, and then that means then that you're tired Sunday, and then you have a big night sleep Sunday, but Monday, it's this volatility. So for me, the key would be just consistency in sleep.
Okay, I'll try to implement that. Tom, it's really hard being a football fan here in India and watching all the European leagues and try to sleep.
Yeah, that is bad. The games are at all sorts of hours, I know.
Sure, let me try to implement that. Okay, Tom, let's continue your journey. Let's come to India and Mohun Bagan. How did the conversation with Mohun Bagan start, Tom? And what was that one thing which convinced you to move to India this time? You did not come to India in 2017 as you told, but what was that move which made you to decide, let's go for India?
So yeah, I done my 5 years at Brisbane, or I was coming to the end of my 5-year period. I was out of contract, and in that 5-year period, opportunities had come up to move to other Asian clubs, because when I went to Australia, I was told that if you do well in Australia, you open up the opportunity to come to Asia. So in my final year, coming to the end of my contract, there was opportunities throughout that time, but because I'd got my Australian citizenship, it then felt like it was the right time to then try Asia, because I'd done my 5 years, it was just the perfect time. Anyway, yeah, so at the end of that contract, in that off-season, coming towards the end of the off-season, there was interest from various Indian clubs, but when Mohun Bagan came, it was like, I was well aware now of what Mohun Bagan was, how the ISL was. I understood the dynamic as per the 5 years previous, I didn't really have much of an idea. Whereas now I was well aware of what Mohun Bagan was. I knew the players that played for the club, the importance of the club, the legacy of the club, all the stuff. So for me, it was an easy conversation. And yeah, from when they showed interest, it was like, where do I sign? To be honest. And it moved really quickly from there.
So Tom, coming to India, what was the hardest part of the Indian culture which you had to adjust, and what has surprised you the most about the life in India, particularly?
Culture-wise, I think it was probably the food initially, just to get onto the normal food. Like I can't lie, the stomachs have been up and down sometimes with food. You know what I mean? But obviously, I've come to like some of the Indian traditional food, especially here in Calcutta. In terms of the football, like the heat was even more hot than Australia. Like it was like, I remember my first game and it was like a furnace. I couldn't even breathe. So that was something to adapt to. But in general, no, I think the fact that I'd played in Australia and played in Asia, that helped me to come here. And I think that's something that, yeah, we've done well at, is that like coming from that. If I'd have come directly from Scotland, I think I would have found it a lot tougher than coming from Australia, if that makes sense.
Okay. So Tom, the last season with Mohun Bagan was quite a success. I would like to ask you, like from inside the dressing room, what separates a title-winning team from a good team? Like you have played throughout many teams, but what was that one thing which differentiates between a title-winning team and a good team? Because with Mohun Bagan, you guys won 3 trophies last season, and you played a major part as well.
I think for me, in a winning, obviously a good team on the pitch, that was evident. But for me, it's that togetherness and having good characters in the dressing room, that when you do face adversity, that you stick together, because ultimately that's what wins you the titles and the trophies. That's what wins it you. And if I look back to my previous career, it was always the teams that were together and had that unity. That's what gets you over the line for me. So yeah, even when we faced tough times, we always stuck together. And so we've got real good characters here. The group, we're together. And yeah, that's kind of the one thing that's stuck with us. I don't know whether, like, it's almost like that's just been created by the group that we have here, which is quite special, to be fair. So yeah, the club have done great to assemble that. And yeah, the success showed.
Also, Tom, when you was about to sign when you was about to sign for Mohun Bagan, you might be knowing that this is the club where the expectations are at top, to go and make every season. The Real Madrid of Spain, like they aim to win everything every season. So what was your mantra to keep that in mind, where you played out the games? How do you describe the pressure of that and how you literally coped in that?
Yeah, so I quickly realised when to the airport and the amount of fans that were there that you're going to have to win some football matches here, because they're there to say hello. But if it goes wrong, I'm well aware of how it could change, But to be honest with you, for me personally, that was something I'd missed in Australia. Like I'd done 5 years, and when I first went there, I felt there was that demand to win. However, at the back end, I felt like Australia had lost that pressure to win, whereas I wanted to go somewhere that was like, right, there is that pressure to win, because as the player, pressure goes. For me, it just doesn't add up with me, You need that hunger in you, and that's what Mohun Bagan was from the word off when I landed. So I was well aware of the pressure, and I think when you kind of win trophies and so, you just have to take one step at a time, and every game is just that next step. And yeah, look, I think if you reframe that pressure as actually like a privilege, it's a good mindset to have all that, So yeah, we had it as a group and as a team, and to play for this club is you're going to have that pressure, and that's why you need the characters in there to handle that pressure and perform, because there is pressure.
Yeah, we talked about fans, Tom. Can you describe the feeling of playing in front of Mohun Bagan fans, and how the energy is different to the A-League?
Yeah, well, that was another thing as well for me. At the back end of the A-League, I felt like there wasn't that passion from the supporters that there is here. To be honest with you, there's not that passion in many places in the world that there is here, if I'm honest. It's incredible. So, no, to play in front of the fans that we do, and some of the stadiums and the games that we did play, even away from home, they fill out multiple tiers. So no, it's brilliant as a player. It's enjoyable. Everything that you want as a professional. So no, it's again privilege, but obviously with that comes the pressure, which we enjoy. So yeah, and some of the final game, the noise of the stadium was just amazing.
Okay, Tom. So we have arranged a very special segment for you, and it's obviously about the fans. Before coming to his question, I'll tell you, I have talked to lot of Mohun Bagan fans, and they really love you. They really love you. All these chants and stuff, that might be overwhelming for you. So they really love you, Tom. So go ahead with your answer.
Hi Tom, Junaid here. I hope you are doing great. So my question is, you have played under different coaches, under different tactics and in different countries. How has this change in the culture and environment helped your game? And also playing with your fellow Alberto Rodriguez has been the partnership so far, and I'm excited to see you again in the ISL. Thank you.
So as to the question regarding coaches and managers, for me, you always pick up lessons, technique, methods from different managers. You always just pick up that little something. So I've had multiple throughout the years, and I could never tell you, oh, he was the best or he was the worst, because everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses. And I think for me, a key as a player is to pick up those strengths, and also what did you learn from that manager in particular? Because if you can pick that up and take away something from everyone, you end up building this perfect manager, So yeah, different playing styles, different training methods, different tactics. But I think as a player, if you can, again, comes down to adapting, you can use that as a strength of yours. As regards to the question with Alberto, yeah, look, I feel like that was a partnership was just meant to happen in football, So, can't speak positively enough of him as a player. I think it helps that he's kind of like that, got the left foot, and I've kind of got the right foot, so there's balance. And physically, again, he's a top specimen as an athlete. So, yeah, look, I think without speaking too much about us as people or players, I would more like to speak of the numbers of the clean sheets and the wins, and that's what's important to us is the clean sheets. So I feel like sometimes in football now there's this, and this is not India or anywhere in particular, it's just world football, is that there's people don't take as much pride in defending and keeping clean sheets. For me and for us, if we can do that, you provide yourself the perfect platform to win football matches. And yeah, it was enjoyable to do that with each other. And that's not just us, it was the back four as a unit, the players in front that don't take any credit away from that, us as a unit and as a structure. So no, but yeah, it's been obviously a good partnership, and yeah, hope it continues.
So congratulations on winning the ISL double and winning the IFSC in the October of 2025, and hopefully you will do your thing you have been doing so far in the next season of ISL, which is starting from February. My question to you would be, you have played for different clubs. You have played for quite big clubs. So in Scotland, you played in Motherwell as well. You have played at least second tier, third tier. You played against big clubs in your lifetime. But what are the core differences between the fan bases you have played in Europe, in England specifically, or in Scotland, and in India? In India, in Mohun Bagan, what are the core differences you have found between the fan bases and the fan culture here in India and in Scotland and England?
Good long question, but I get the message. So basically, for me, with regards to the fan bases, when I was in England in the Football League, it does become life and death, to be honest with you, for fans. Like, feels that way anyway. And in Scotland too, it was everything to people paying their weekly wages or a ticket on a Saturday to go and watch you play. And if you don't provide them with a win or any type of like pleasure in winning the game and do it playing well, then you're soon to hear about it. And when I went to Australia, I felt like that was lost a bit. Whereas when I came back to India, I felt like that came back a bit. So it's everything to Mohun Bagan fans to win and continue to win. So for me, I would actually like an Indian culture of fans at Mohun Bagan with that of the UK, because it's almost like life and death, It's a religion. And for me, that's the way football should be.
Added to that question, Tom, I would love to know as a player how it felt to play for that derby match, the Mohun Bagan versus East Bengal. How is it before the match and then after the match?
I think with that game, you're well aware of the magnitude of that match leading into the game.
Yeah.
So, and then the atmosphere in the game is incredible. It's almost like a tennis match of when the ball goes that way, the crowd go that way, and the ball goes that way, the crowd go that way. So it's incredible. And when it was a shame, because one of the games last year we had to play behind closed doors, but the first one was at the Salt Lake, and it was one of the best games I've played in. Like, looking back at it was like a final, and when and the atmosphere, the stadium was incredible. And obviously to win that game was brilliant. You don't sleep that night because of the adrenaline. It's that good, you know. So no, it was a brilliant game, and obviously we'll continue to have those big games because they're massive, you know.
Yeah. So, did you have any sort of those games back in England or in Australia, like this magnitude?
I've played in derbies, but not that size where there's that many fan bases. I've played in big games, but again, not those fan bases. So yeah, not that rivalry with that amount of fans, no. So yeah, to play in that was pretty good, to be fair. It's hard to beat that, to be honest with you.
I have a question for you. Like, you have played football for many clubs across different leagues and countries, and in every club that you have played, the level of your game has been quite consistent, no matter what changes comes around you. So my question to you is, how have you adapted to the changes in India, and how the people in Mohun Bagan and Kolkata helped you to adapt to Indian conditions? And specifically, if you can tell us about your teammates, about how they helped both foreign and Indian, about their contributions to your success in India. If you could share that story with us. And of course, I want to wish you all the luck for the ISL, and I hope we can again win it and make it a three-pit.
With consistency, I feel as a defender, that's something that becomes a necessity. As a defender, you're not a player that is going to one week have a 9 out of 10 or 2-3 goals, and then next week you're not going to score and you purport. For me, as a defender, the key is kind of being at that stable 7-8 out of 10 every week, being reliable. And ultimately, that is something that for me in my career is that I believe I've played the amount of games in the amount of countries and the amount of leagues I have because I feel a manager would look at me and say I'm reliable, you know. And that's something that when I was looking back to 19, 20, 21 is that I never had that reliability. I wasn't consistent enough. You only develop that with time and games, and that's something that I've been able to do throughout my career, and obviously continue to hopefully do throughout my career. So first of all, I feel that's a necessity for a defender. The second thing is in terms of adapting to the different countries, and it's something we've already actually spoke about, but again, I'll add to it in saying finding and learning the leagues, learning the players, learning the conditions, and adapting your game, you know. And I think that's a massive quality to have, and any top player in world football would have, is finding a way to adapt to your surroundings, to your players, to your teammates, and to the league you're in. So yeah, that's a quality to develop as you get older and as your journey progresses. And I think that was the end of the question, was it?
Yeah. So thank you, Tom, for answering all the questions from the fans. Let's move to our next section, which is a very fun section. It will be a rapid fire round. So I'll need you to answer in one word and very quick. Your favorite stadium you played in?
Wembley.
Best striker you have marked?
Probably Callum Wilson, who was at the time at Bournemouth, was very good.
Your favorite Indian dish?
I think is it dough piazza? That's the potatoes with the sauce on. Dough piazza. It's like potatoes, like roasted potatoes, but there's got like a curry sauce out on the outside. It's like a Bengal dish.
I also don't know. If you know, in the comment section, pants, let us know.
We'll just go for a tikka masala there, just to simplify that.
What's your favorite cheat meal, Tom?
Cheat meal. Pizza.
Okay. One thing you miss from home?
Right now, I go family because they're not with me. But when they were here, what do I miss? I miss going for like a cold walk.
Okay. Clean sheet or winning goal?
Wait, clean sheet.
Clean sheet. Oh, you have scored some winning goals as well for Mohun Bagan, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, celebrated, inside like the event that celebrated with the fans. I seen that.
That's right, yeah. But now clean sheet, I'm going to go.
Okay. Your best friend in Mohun Bagan team?
Oh, that's difficult. I think obviously on the pitch I'd go Alberto because but no, we've got a good group here, and obviously we've got a group that all come from similar backgrounds with Australia and that, so we have a good group. So it's hard to just single out one. I'm not gonna.
Okay, the first opponent you faced in India?
I'll go like Jason Bimmy Mackie in training. So yeah.
Yes, best team, I asked Tom.
To be fair, what I would add on that is that I do feel like the best team against last year for me, were probably Bengaluru. We had some really tough games against them, including the final. And I would say that like Chetri, for his, I don't know what age he is. He's in like incredible. I'd speak about myself trying to gain longevity in football. Like, he's done that so well, you know, the amount of games he's played for India. He's still playing. I think he's 41, 40. And I actually said that to him when we played them after the final. I was like, for you to be as sharp as he is at that age is some achievement.
Okay. pre-match routine you never change.
I'll always have scrambled eggs on toast before the game
Okay. Best football advice you ever received.
to not look too far ahead.
Do you want your legacy to be in India? Not just as a trophy winner, Tom, because you have already won 3 cups, but as a person.
I'd like to be remembered as someone who had, first of all, a positive impact on the football club, who came in and made it better, impacted younger players to the way I live my life, professional and as a player, to then hopefully they've taken something away from that that can enable them to become a better player, a better person, a better athlete. So hopefully that, I hope that I've impacted them in a way that, yeah, I mean, I've pretty much said it all there, haven't I? And that what if for me to be able to walk away from here and say I've impacted teammates in a positive way would be a success in itself.
Okay, Tom, I would like to know your final message to all the Mohun Bagan fans and young players listening. What would your final message to them for our podcast?
Yeah, just thank you to the support, the continued support, and the support in the future. To the young generation of players, I would say that continue to strive and dream big, and to always feel that you can achieve your goal, and that I hope that you can take away something from my journey that inspires you to start your own. I think we've touched on it throughout the whole podcast, is that my journey has been far from plain sailing, and with any football that you speak to, they'll have had the knockbacks and the adversities, but the ones that stay in the game longer and the longer journeys are the ones that can handle those setbacks and adversity. And sometimes it can be a lonely place, football, injuries, losses, bad moments. So yeah, just stay with it, and I hope you've been able to gain some sort of value from the stories that I've been able to talk to tell, and I'd still continue to want to keep playing and play for many years. Hopefully you enjoy watching my continued journey, but yeah, I want to wish you all the best for the future, and hopefully someone out there can be watching going, I've inspired them to achieve more.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast. It was lovely talking to you, listening to your stories and your journey. I really hope that it inspires everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.